It is Monday, September 13th, and this is Jury Duty, a Big Brother podcast. I cannot wait to watch that back because I was having major issues clicking that. And I was trying to be really seamless and like right clicking, and I saw all these things coming up and I was really panicking. But anyway, here we are. Okay. This is the first night that we had the cookout where they were supposed to be. I feel like it's a brand new game. All right. Popping off something brand new. Where do we start? This HOH competition, first of all, before we even talk about who won, I hate it.
Oh.
Okay, there's absolutely no way I would even want to play it.
Yeah.
Like,
no.
At this stage of the game, I guess you really can't opt out. I mean, you never.
No, I literally was watching TV. Like, I would just sit down and say, you know what? Keep the money.
Just forget.
I'm fine. I'm good.
Forget
Keep it.
I'm going to take my chances. I'll wait for veto.
Yeah.
Terrible.
The only thing about that competition that I was like really like wondering was like, how do I get the chicken guy's job? Because I know we've seen him do
that
other
was
things
the
on
worst
the
part.
show. No, like,
I liked him.
How fun was that guy's job? Because we've seen him in other seasons of the show, and
I feel like
Listen,
yes, I feel like
listen.
he was that man who would dress up as Granny and like do all those other things like in previous. I think that was like the same guy.
In this specific instance, it's like, all right, listen, what is this, Sesame Street? Like, we don't need the like guy in the costume doing like the silly intro. Just do the competition.
I loved it. He's yelling at them. You're all out of cluck.
No, I hated it.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun.
Yeah.
And I also did take
terrible.
note to the upgraded chicken wire. We didn't just have that basic chicken wire. Like this was like something copper. Like this was like something, put some money into this one. So thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, this is going to be the moment where we see who the real super fans are. Who knows to shake the eggs before they like that whole like thing where like that was the strategy of like shake it before they set it down the thing. And like everyone was like, no, we're just going to have a hard time forever. It's like, all right.
I don't remember that at all. I feel like I've never heard that in my life.
No, because
I guess that makes sense.
The last time that we had seen that competition was, who was it? Christy, Mickey, and Sis in 21.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember something about this.
And that was the whole thing where like they teamed up against Christy because they both learned that like if you shake the eggs, you have more control over the weight distribution when you're sending it down the ramp.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds vaguely familiar. It does. Vaguely.
All right.
I didn't really know where else to go with that. So, Kyland won. Gross.
Yeah.
Is that really? I mean, I don't know. Why don't we like it? We don't like it because who ended up going on the block, and I don't know that DF was necessarily a better choice anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know if it matters.
Yeah.
So with that, we've got Miss Tiffany and Hands on the block. Yeah, not happy, but also not surprised.
Right.
Everybody's too scared to fire a shot at Xavier.
Well, I don't even think that it's necessarily that Kyland is afraid to take the shot. Like, he is dead set on taking Xavier to final two. That's his person. Like, he's never going to take a shot at Xavier. It's not a fear thing.
Yeah.
It's just not a smart move.
Not at all.
I don't know why.
I'm not saying I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I would have been more impressed with that if it was fear. Because otherwise it's just plain stupid.
Yeah, Kyland's been walking around, particularly this week, of like this thing of, no, my plan is to bring the best player in the game to final two. And for whatever reason, he's convinced himself that he has the jury votes against Xavier, but like all of the people that he's listing that he thinks he has are all either people like Sarah Beth, who are going to be potentially bitter that he wasn't honest with them, or people that he specifically sent to the jury house, or people that are just more heavily aligned with Xavier, or who have specifically said, I'm gonna vote for Xavier. People like Claire, who is straight up leaving the house like, no, Xavier has my vote. You guys want to get him out of here. Like, for whatever reason, Kyland has it in his head that he has all of the votes. So I want to, take the strongest competitor, so I know that I beat the best person in the house. But he's not seeing that he just doesn't really have much of a shot to do that.
I really like, with Kyland this week, we're just talking about jury votes, right? And there was something that Kylan was saying when he found out he was going up as the replacement nom on the double eviction night that was really irritating me. And he pulled Tiffany and he's going, appearances for who? Appearances for who? Why are we worrying about jury management with Alyssa? And I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe you don't personally feel like you need Alyssa's jury vote, but Hannah has every right to put up who she thinks she should put up. If Alyssa asks for Kylan, then just go up, Kylan, because you know what? You have the votes anyway. It doesn't matter. Someone from the Cookout has to go up, and no matter who it is, they have the votes against Alyssa. If Hannah feels like it's going to put her in a somewhat better situation if she happens to get to Final Two, she has every right to put up who she feels, she has to. And I thought it was ironic. I'm not surprised, obviously, that Xavier gave Alyssa the sympathy vote. But we've seen before, right? We talked about it, burn votes, sympathy votes, they get people knocked out. And if Tiffany and Tiffany and someone else, if it was Azza, whoever, decided they were going to flip their votes and vote out, Kylan instead, that would have been Xavier's fault for really sending Kylan out of the house in a way. So, I was really irritated just with Kylan's whole attitude after that. This whole feeling of I shouldn't have to go up. I shouldn't have to go up. It doesn't matter. Someone has to go up. It might as well be you.
Which, can we discuss something you said there was interesting, because I do feel maybe the wrong move was definitely made here. You really could have kept Alyssa in and gotten that was a really great opportunity to get Kylan out. And I think
because of what the Cookout means to them, I just don't think there was a situation where they were going to consider it.
And I very, very much understand that. And that's where, playing for the cause, I think may have hurt some people's individual game. That was really the point that I wanted to make here, because if we took advantage of that opportunity to get Kylan out, we wouldn't be in this situation here. Because I still don't think. Well, now how would that have gone? Because then if Hannah, I don't know, if you plan that out better, would Alyssa have had this vendetta against them? Would that have now protected Tiffany and Hannah more? I did not have time to think this through. That was just because I never really imagined Kylan going out. That wasn't a scenario we ever thought
I think
about.
in that situation, because Hannah had already said no, Xavier is my target. I feel that would have now made Hannah public enemy number one, because now it's oh, well, you already said you were going to get my person out, and the only reason you didn't is because he won the veto. So now for the safety of Xavier, now Hannah's looking like Alyssa's target. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. I just figured. I just wanted to think about it. I like to hypothesize. But I really want to know spoilers. Because we can talk about what we think we want to happen. Mm-hmm.
Well, you're the only one who doesn't know, so go ahead.
I know, and I want to know. I just feel did we cover everything that we need to for the casuals before we switch over?
I don't know, man. There was so much packed into this episode. I feel there's got to be more that we needed to talk about.
I know, because it's only 9 minutes in, and I feel we can't be spoiler time. The thing is, there just isn't. It's so much of it was, I feel Kylan vacillating back and forth, how he wanted this to go. And then once the gentlemen were formed, Xavier and Kylan, their final two.
Yeah.
I
don't understand Kylan's thought process because it's almost he wants to be the Cody to Xavier's Derek, but he still thinks that he's going to beat him in the end. And it doesn't really add up to me how he is getting that.
Unless it's also like another like pride thing. Like if I go up against the best and I lose, and I can't really be embarrassed because he really was the best. But then if I actually did win, then like fine. But if I went up against somebody who I think is a layup and I still didn't win, and it's because I went up against a bitter jury because I pissed everybody off, then like maybe that's just more egg on face. I don't know.
I guess. It's just not smart.
No, it's not. It's not smart. It's not smart.
Yeah, I think Kylan's kind of all over the place. It's funny to hear him talk about keeping up appearances and jury management too, when he's the one that's been like slipping out little hints about an alliance that he's working with. It's like, you're so worried about everybody else, their jury management, and you're the one that's actually probably doing the most potential damage to the group. Like.
Yeah, because he's the one who's been outing things all along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what I also wanted to ask you guys, because we've talked about in this on this podcast before, like once we get to the cookout, the potential for there to be sort of like a girls versus guys split. And I'm wondering how Azah is feeling now, because we know that she's kind of obviously close with Derek F, and then we're not sure what her feelings are on Xavier all the time. We know she has this crush. But I wonder how she feels now that they're down to the cookout, and the first two people in the cookout that go up are women. I wonder how. I
think we'd have to defer to our feed queen.
Yeah,
it's my understanding that for Azah, her number 1 and number 2 are Xavier and DF. Like that is her ideal final 3. That is who she wants to go with. I think she's with the women if the women were to be in power in that moment, but I think that like for her own personal game, if she had it her way and she could work with anybody, she's mostly trying to align herself with X and DF, and she wants Kyland out. And I don't know if she just doesn't realize how close X and Kai actually are, or because she's pretty much openly talked about that to all of them. So I don't know if it's that she's not seeing that there is this men-women divide.
Yeah. I have another question. This is not about Azah, but I'm just like thinking about things. So I wanted to get an idea, because we saw another group that Kyland formed, right? With Tiffany and Hannah. Was it the Con Artists or something they called it?
I don't remember what they called it.
Something like that. It was Kyland, Tiffany, and Hannah in the room. They were talking about kind of a final 3 thing, and I'm pretty sure they called it the Con Artists. And,
I don't remember.
It was interesting to me because then we saw Tiffany later on after, later in the episode, we saw Tiffany talking to Kyland, kind of like, I'm still committed to this deal if you're interested. And Kyland asked her, who do you think, you could see yourself going to Final 4 with? And I don't know I think she said that was still kind of up in the air, but that like she knew she wanted to get Xavier out like first or something like that. And I wonder if she had said like, I'd love to go to a Final 4 with me, you, Hannah, and Xavier. And since Kyland at that point had made that Final 2 with Xavier, I wonder if hearing that from Tiffany would have changed the nominations at all. Because she, going from potentially saying Xavier in a Final 4 to her response being, I want Xavier out first, just after Kyland makes a Final 2 with him, I wonder if that would have maybe changed how he decided to go about noms.
Yeah, like that was really frustrating to watch on feeds too, because she was trying so hard to make him understand, like, no, X has the jury votes. You think you have the jury, but you don't if he's the person that you're up against. Like everybody's been telling you, Claire straight up told us, this is who I'm voting for. We have to get him out. We have to get rid of him. I want to get X out and I want to get Big D out. Like that is where my head is at. And he kind of looked like he might be listening to her a little bit, but then it's like a couple of minutes later, he was like, oh, no, X is the best player. I'm going to take the best player, and went right back to what he was thinking before. And I don't know if it's this weird arrogance thing with him that he's like, no, obviously they're going to vote for me, or like what is going I just don't understand the thought process. I
mean, I'm sure he's riding high because it's his 3rd HOH.
Yeah.
In his mind, he probably is thinking this should technically be my 4th HOH. So I'm sure he's walking around that house thinking like I can beat anybody, Yeah,
there is a piece to him that like is just kind of yesing Tiffany to death at this point too, because he's still so salty that she took the HOH from him. But I think it's stupid. I just think it's stupid.
I think a lot of this is stupid, and I'm very concerned. I'm not very concerned. I guess I don't really care about Kyland's fate, but like going into this double, like I don't know who would really like keep him. I think Xavier would for the time being, or would you take advantage of this double to like just say the hell with the gentleman?
No,
You
I
know?
think Xavier would keep him because he specifically said, "I'm bringing you to 2." So that's just someone that he knows is going to bring him to finale night. Why is he going to get rid of him of all people? You know.
If he's really super confident that Kylan will bring him, I don't know. I feel like a double kind of brings something out of people sometimes. Because they see it as like an opportunity to like to take a shot that they wouldn't ordinarily take because everything's sped up. They don't have to deal with, you know, the ramifications of like what this looks like during the week. But I don't know. Like what does an Azza HOH look like during the double?
Yeah.
I don't know who's safe in situations like that, you know? And I think that Kylan could have a problem.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to see Hannah win the double again and get Kai out. That's what I want. I want to see it.
I want to see that so badly. And I think that that's something that's possible because these competitions that happen during the double are always something that's really, really fast paced. Is usually something you have to pay attention to in the moment. And Hannah just seems to be really good with competitions like that. Yeah. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Like I want to see Hannah win, put up X and Kai, and then if X pulls himself down, put up Big D, and then you got to get Kai out. Like that's what I want.
Now Big D seems to really think that he's got some jury votes, and I really can't understand why. Like he's very, very like confident.
He's been really frustrating me a lot lately too, because I don't know if you're seeing, like, I don't know how much of the tweets that you've been reading or how much of the feed stuff you've been seeing. I've been trying to keep up. I've been trying.
And
this has been happening. I think this was happening last week too. When he talks to people, for whatever reason, takes credit for everything Tiffany has done. So like,
yes, that's what I've been reading.
If you ask Big D, he is the reason why the Cookout exists. He came up with the idea to bring the Cookout together. That was him. Then he also came up with the idea of the partner system. That was his idea. Tiffany might have said it first, but I was thinking it. So it was my idea. And I actually I'm not kidding. That's what he said.
Yeah, like, I read it. I read it.
Tiffany might have been the one to say it, but I was thinking it. So it was actually my idea. So I implemented this thing that got us to the final 6. Like in his brain, he genuinely believes that he is the reason why they're there.
Oh my.
Which, to be fair, he is actually set up pretty well. I see a pretty strong likelihood that he ends up in final 2 because he's made deals with a number of people in the house at this point. A lot of people are like looking to keep him around.
Well, yes, because they will so obviously win against him.
Correct.
You know,
and that like we know that, and the person planning on bringing him knows that.
I don't know. Okay. Well, all right. Okay. We're just delusional. That's fine. I suppose
it's been so frustrating to listen to because it's like Tiffany worked so hard to implement all of these plans. You know, Kyle went on his Tiffany rant last week. We all heard it. Like Tiffany was really the one to sit down and be like, all right, this is what we're going to do. I got us here. Tiffany's the only one that's allowed to brag and be like, I got us here. Anybody else trying to take the credit? Like Tiffany did it.
Yeah.
Blatantly did it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tiffany did it, and I feel like most of these issues that have arisen now, like, have stemmed from the fact that she won that HOH. And I've heard Xavier mention it, but other than that, like, what did Tiffany end up doing at the end of the day? I think she might have been the only person that was HOH and had to send her own person out the door for the good of the Cookout. So yeah, you can grumble, you can moan, you can be all upset that she won that HOH, that technically she wasn't supposed to win, but she still did put them into this situation where they are now in final 6. So it's just so frustrating to hear them talk about Tiffany in this way, like as if she did something so awful to them when like, it bothers me.
But like, and to that point, we hear Xavier talk so much about how much he had to sacrifice. I had to sacrifice so much. I gave up so much. You want to talk about sacrifice? Tiffany let go of her own person.
Yeah.
She was the one who had to send her own person out the door. She sacrificed her individual game and was, like you just said, the only person that had to be the one to sacrifice their individual game in a position of power to further the Cookout.
Yep.
That's a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Can we get into spoilers?
We can if you want.
I just need to know. I need to know. So who won? Who was spoiling? Anybody watching?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
listening?
Spoiler
Spoilers.
alert.
Beep,
Spoiler
Yeah.
alert.
All right. So
Spoiler
shut
alert.
it off now if you're done. But I'm ready to move on. So who won veto?
I don't think you're gonna like it.
I think it was Kylan. Was it Kylan?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I thought I was inferring.
Yeah.
From the Twitter. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well.
Womp womp. I was really hoping for a Tiffany win on this one.
I know.
And the ceremony happened today?
The ceremony did happen today, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I to be fair, I did not read what happened in the ceremony, but one can assume things have changed.
I am assuming that nothing happened.
No,
Yeah.
I know for a fact nothing has changed.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And it sucks because I had been holding out like the slimmest hope that Kylan something would click in his head that like, you know what? I have HOH, I have the veto. I need to get out Xavier right now. That I was hoping. I was hoping. But
That's a long shot.
Yeah. All right. So we're probably gonna lose Miss Tiffany.
Yeah.
Unless some miracle. Unless Tiffany
But even still, then we lose Hannah. And is that really that much better?
It's not. It's not. And
it's
honestly,
it's not better, but it's not better, but Tiffany deserves it more in my opinion, and that's why I want her to stay. So I don't want Hannah to be out, but I just I don't know.
Here's the thing. What I feel like. All right, now that we know we have our black winner, what I want is a woman. I want a female. So now I have to say that in the situation that we're in, I am now I have to back Hannah because I feel like Hannah is more likely to win than Tiffany. Oops, I don't know why I think that, but I do.
You mean, or like?
It's just everything. I feel like she has the best shot now going forward in terms of who's left and like what's going on. Jury votes and everything. Because they're on the block together.
Yeah.
I think Hannah has the better path at this point.
Do you think that Hannah, if she stays in the house this week and then doesn't win HOH, do you think that she will still be a target, or do you think that they'll, you know what I mean? I don't know if I see anybody else that wins. I feel like Hannah's going to go right back up. I feel like whether it's Xavier, Kylan.
Yeah, unless she wins something.
True.
Like if she wins something and she puts up, like let's just say she puts up like Xavier and Kylan. And then nobody wins. Let's just say nothing changes. Let's just say. And then Kylan does go out like we said, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like I just don't feel like she's as big a target to people as Tiffany.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes sense to put her up next to Tiffany so she can't.
Even if you're not as aggressive about it, I guess it doesn't really mean anything.
But then even still, like think about it. Like say Tiffany does end up going home. Now, who are the threats in the house? Realistically, Kylan, X, and Hannah. Like DX and Azza are still just kind of floating. No one who's still in the house is seeing them as a big target that they have to get rid of immediately. So if there is this men-women divide, they're gonna go for Hannah.
Yeah. I guess it doesn't.
I don't like it either. I don't like it either.
I guess it doesn't matter. I guess I can kind of bring us into our next comment here. We have a question. Any comments on the Cookout men being called sexist? I don't know. I don't know yet. I feel like I don't know enough. I feel like that for me. I feel like there's been comments being thrown around, but does it have to be that they're being sexist? I'm not sure yet. It could just be that they're just so overconfident about themselves. May not have anything to do with that. Unless there's some other comments that I'm kind of like missing. Was there anything else in the feeds that I
guess I do in a way get this like sense from like, especially someone like Xavier or Kylan, that they feel like, oh, all these girls, they need us to protect them. Like we're the ones keeping this together. Like that's like, I do get that sort of like a vibe from them.
There's a weird like superiority complex.
Yeah, it's like I don't know what it is. I don't know if I could like speak to any specific like quote or line that they've said, but like just in watching them over the course of the season, I just get this like feeling from Xavier and Kylan that they feel like, oh, they're Kylan with Sarah Beth and Xavier with Alyssa, like they're protectors, like they're keeping them safe in this game, like they are helpless without them. Where I feel like there are so many strong women that have been in this house this year that can totally take care of themselves. Like they don't need you, Xavier. They don't need you, Kylan. Like like
there's also been like there's been a lot of like throughout the whole season, like Derek referring to the women in the house as bitches and like getting mad like if they do something like different than what he wants. Like Tiffany's a bitch and this person's a bitch, and just like really like going off like speaking ill of the women in the house for sometimes no real reason. And that's definitely also contributing to the view of like, oh well, the men in the cookout are being the men of the cookout because they have something against the women, not just because like men's alliance, but it's like, no, like we have to get rid of the women.
Okay. I was not aware.
No, that with Derek, that's been happening pretty frequently this season.
That's disappointing to hear. Kind of makes me like him a little less. That certainly is not in line with the view I had of him. So that is a little disappointing, but okay. All right.
Like I've had like this arc on DF this year where like I did not like him, and then I started to really like him. And the last couple of weeks I've been like, get out of here.
I know that. I feel like now that just put me on the same arc because now I was up here. I was up, and now it's kind of knocked me back down. That's kind of disappointing. But thank you for the question. Even though wah, wah, wah. All right, so I guess we're looking at Miss Tiffany probably leaving us this week. If Hannah wins, I would assume she'd put up X and Kylan.
I think so.
Yeah.
Who do you think she'd put up if someone came down?
DF.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'll tell you, Azah. What's happening with that? Like, is she the dark horse, like, to win this thing?
I know,
like,
imagine.
What's going on? Like, because I feel like she's not in anyone's crosshairs. Like,
and
ever.
she's not, correct me if I'm wrong, she's never seen the block. Even though she's I think the only person in the house who's asked to be.
She asks to be all the time. She tells everyone, I would put, this is exactly what I said the other night.
Yeah.
Yes, who would you put up? Why would I put you up? They still don't put her up. Like, oh, she's fine. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
Well, I guess you could make the argument that, because we've talked how many times about how, for someone like an Xavier, a Tiffany, a Kylan, if they're sitting next to DF, if they make it to final two, like that's a win for them. But I think you could make the argument that Azah is even more of a slam dunk if you're sitting next to her on final two, like, so why get rid of her?
I don't know, man.
I'm saying I don't know either now. I don't know, because she could literally stand in front of everyone and say, I said week after week, put me on the block, and you all thought that your game would be better off with me still here.
Mm-hmm.
It would be awesome.
I don't know.
There's something to be said. There's something to be said about her social game, that she's been able to make it through that many times, like making those kind of comments to people, and still no one's really looking at her.
Yeah, I don't know. And every time we talk about all these different scenarios that could be coming up and like what's going on, like I've never once said, "Oh, I think this person would put up Azah." Like I've never said it.
Never.
Like,
Never.
No.
Is that the social game though? Is that enough? Like, could you argue that anybody else that she'd be sitting next to has also had a decent social game plus the comp wins? And I think this ties into, we got another question from the same person here about DF and like what would his argument be, right?
Yeah.
With zero comp wins, so that I think that's the same kind of thing for Azah. I feel like they would have to both make the same type of argument.
It's so interesting because I feel like, especially in modern seasons of Big Brother, like especially since so many of the competitions are now physical competitions, just like the ratio of physical to mental to memory comps to like whatever, we just see more physical competitions. And I feel like those comp wins in more recent seasons have been seen as more favorable than other types of wins. So I personally, I don't know. Wait, uh-oh.
A connection issue here.
It's my fault.
Uh-oh.
Ooh, it's
Yikes, technical difficulties. I kept talking and realized no one was responding, and I was like, am I having a problem?
I was still hearing you. I'm gone.
I was still hearing you also.
Okay. No one was responding, and then I realized no one had moved in a while, and I said, uh-oh.
Yeah, I still see you as frozen.
You were still moving. Gina was still moving for me. Kyle was frozen.
So weird.
I mean, is everybody working now?
I see everybody working now.
I don't, but that's fine.
Hope everybody's at home is okay in the audience there. Technical difficulties.
Crazy. No, yes, I do think, I don't know where we were left off there, but I do believe that there's something to be said for the social game, even if you don't have a lot of comp wins under your belt. I guess I still think then if you're going to take that route, that Azah has the stronger argument, just because even with all of her begging and pleading to see the block, she still never did, not even as a pawn. Unless she just popped in and popped off real quick and we don't even remember.
I know. I really don't think she's ever seen the block.
I don't think she has, and the reason is because one of Kylan's arguments to Hannah for why he shouldn't be the replacement nom is that somebody that hasn't been up should go up, and the people that he named were Tiffany and Azah. So.
And there you go.
Yeah.
Well.
And, to, that question that we got earlier, I think that if Derek was to try to make a case for himself, it would just be him trying to take credit for the things that Tiffany did. I think he would sit there on the block and be like, well, I created the cookout. I came up with this partner plan. I did this, I did that. Like, it was all like my strategy and whatever, which, of course we know it was Tiffany, but I don't know. I feel like he would try to use it as leverage in some form.
Right.
I don't disagree with that.
I mean, the people in the jury, if he's there trying to make that case on finale night, we know that Tiffany came up with it, but other than the cookout members, the non-cookout members, they don't know that it wasn't Derek F. So if he says it,
right.
Sorry, I pulled up the stream. No, I'm sorry. That's all my fault. I pulled up the stream because I still have...
we were still streaming.
Well, yeah, because I have Gina still frozen. And I just wanted to make sure.
Am I at least frozen on a pretty face, or do I look janky?
It is. It's just I was just nervous that because I was the one who started the stream. Am I messing this up? But apparently not. So we're fine.
Everybody's moving for me.
Well, then good. Then we'll just keep on keeping on. Do we think that the jury will be bitter? I think it depends. I think it depends on. I think it depends on a lot of things. I think it depends on how things are handled when people's cookout members start to go to the house.
Yeah.
Because they're going to have to start speaking to those things. I feel there's going to be a lot of questions asked around their alliance and how they got there. And I think that depending on how they handle some of that stuff will depend on how people feel.
Yeah.
I think that it depends who's in the final two to me. I feel like, I think this cast this year is very, very open-minded, very accepting, very tolerant. Everyone in the cast, even the people that we maybe don't like as much as others. I do think that this cast overall is just a very good cast. And I don't think that they will be bitter about like the Cookout doing what they did throughout the season. But I think that if it comes down to, let's say Kyland is sitting there in final 2 and maybe Derek X feels some sort of way, he might feel bitter towards Kyland specifically. But I don't think anyone in the jury house that's not in the Cookout, I don't think anyone will feel bitter necessarily about what the Cookout has done here and what they've accomplished. That's my opinion.
I also feel like we have a number of super fans in the house this year that I think just have a respect for the game enough that like if good game moves put them there, they're not gonna, really hold that against people. But I do think that if there was anybody to be bitter against, that Kyland is gonna be the one that has a problem.
Yeah.
And why though? Like, why?
I didn't know if there was more to that question.
No, because sometimes I feel like he has a little bit more of a bad rap than he sometimes deserves. Like, I don't know that he did anything with the people. Who did he get out? Who is he really responsible for? Like, I don't know that he ever did anything that was like dirty, other than that people maybe just don't like him.
So, I mean, I know that Brittany was salty with him. I don't remember if he was the HOH that sent her out or not. I believe, was he? I don't remember. Ugh.
I don't remember.
I don't remember
if he was the HOH that started the nonsense of her being the pawn.
But I
think he put her up twice. I don't know if she went out on his HOH, but I'm pretty sure he put her up twice.
Yeah. But I remember even like in her exit interview with Julie, she was saying that like she feels some type of way about Kyland. Then there's the fact that like DX, in his mind, Kyland was his boy. And now all of a sudden Kyland in his goodbye message is like, never mind, there was an alliance that I was with. Sorry about it. Then Sarah Beth, felt some type of way about the fact that Kyland was her person and didn't tell her anything about any kind of an alliance that he was with outside of her. Like there's just a lot of people that I think feel wronged by Kyland just because he wasn't totally honest with them about what was going on. And again, maybe their respect for the game is going to be greater than their distaste for how Kyland kind of wronged them, but maybe not. That's what I'm saying. I think if anybody is to be...
No, I was genuinely asking.
Jury, yeah,
I was genuinely asking. This has been such a long season, and there's just so many things like to go over and unpack with each single thing.
Yeah.
I don't remember everything. So now, genuine question.
Yeah.
There's another question here. Now we've discussed this before, but the current 5 non-Cookout members in jury could pick the winner alone. Comments. I think it depends on who the final 2 are sitting there, though.
Yeah, well, can we think about who the 5 jury members are now, and like, kind of? I wonder if we could kind of guess who they might want. Like if they had their choice of who's left in the house. You know what I mean? Like, could we kind of guess who that 5 might vote for?
Well, I mean, it's Claire, Alyssa, DX, Brittany, and
Sarah
Beth.
I could see all of them voting for like Xavier if he ended up in final 2.
Claire straight up said, if Xavier is in final 2, I'm voting for him. And then
he's got Alyssa.
He's got Alyssa.
But now I did see something on the feed though that Tiffany told Claire to say that.
Did she?
I could have sworn that I saw that, and I
did not see that.
Now I want to.
Doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Yes.
Right, but it does now make me want to check my facts because it makes me nervous. But like, I feel like she said that as part of like that was another like thing to try and help Tiffany on her way out.
Right.
Potentially.
And I think that with how closely they were working, if Tiffany asked her to say that, that probably was something that they talked about, was how much of a threat Xavier was and how, you know what I mean? So I don't think her saying that is necessarily just Tiffany's voice. I think that's probably something they both thought.
No, but it does speak to where Claire's vote would actually lie. Like,
right.
If we believe that to not necessarily be so, then I don't know. If we did have a Tiffany Xavier like final 2, I don't think that it would then go.
No, if Tiffany was there, she would have Claire no matter what.
Yeah,
right. That's all.
But if Tiffany is not, I think that Xavier has Claire.
Yeah, I think it depends on who gets there and what actually happens here. Because what if something like really funky happened and like we get an Aza and DF final 2? Listen, it's not so crazy. It's not so crazy.
It could happen.
It's not so crazy because like the final 3 really could end up being we could be seeing like an Aza DF Kylan Xavier kind of a thing here, and then what if somehow like DF just takes the win on that last one? Are we so sure that he would take Xavier? He might be like, listen, I think he might take an Aza.
I've been
what
seeing,
does that look like? My goodness gracious.
I saw some people on Twitter, I think it was yesterday, saying too, like, it's crazy when you think about the fact that like for the next couple of evictions, because the likelihood of them being put up isn't really high, Aza and DF control the vote for the next couple of evictions, like from now until whenever they go out, you know? They control who goes home.
Yeah, it's gonna make this all like very, very interesting. Because then now if you have an Aza DF final 2, I don't know who wins in that scenario. I have no idea. So
Wow.
we'll just have to see how things go. To have an answer with that one. So the week ahead, what do we have going on? Wednesday, I guess we'll talk more about the veto and then the content.
It's going to be BB Comics, so I'm sure we'll be able to unpack
so I have a lot of stuff to say about that, as well as
that competition went on for like 5 hours.
I can't wait to see how people did on this one. And it's also one of my favorite ones. I always love seeing the comics and everything too. So
comics.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really, really glad that it's back. So that's Wednesday at 9:30. We'll be back. And I guess they're keeping this double at 2 hours. I was really hoping that they were going to like cut that down. I have no idea what's going to be in
it.
We can't have an hour's worth of jury. Who wants that?
Maybe
I don't know. That's a lot.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll stretch out the episode with like, some content of Tiffany and Hannah sort of like, campaigning for themselves, because that'll be like, a lot of the first, because we talked about this too, like how we want to see when we get to these final 6 with the cookout and the fireworks, we want to see it play out. Maybe that extra hour will give us some of those fireworks that like we wouldn't see.
Assuming there are enough fireworks to fill an hour.
Exactly.
Well,
I mean,
listen. If Tiffany is fighting for her life, I think we might get a lot of campaigning from her with her running around behind the scenes to Aza and DF trying to get votes swayed in her favor.
Oh, and maybe on Wednesday they won't actually show us what happens with Veto. Maybe they'll do another tricky thing like that, and let that spill over and like really like milk this thing. Yuck! I don't know.
I mean, in order to do that, they would straight up have to not tell us who won the veto, because everyone's gonna know if Kylan wins the veto. Obviously, not changing it on there.
Well, listen, a precedent for that has already been set with this Wednesday episode. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wait. No, it's too late. We're already 43 minutes in. I still wanted to talk about celebrity for a second. Or we could just talk about it on Wednesday. No, all right. I do. Oh, wait. Who wants to talk about something else? Okay. Could the 2 evictees have a quick battle back like on BB Can 9? All right. I have a lot of things to say about this. I read about this. I don't really know a lot about it. Whoever this is, can you please slide in our DMs and let us know how we can watch BB Can? Okay. I know we found that website before, John, but do we still have it bookmarked? Like, do we know where it is?
I have it somewhere. I haven't been there. I haven't gone on there in months, though.
Okay. Please slide in our DMs and help us. Because we don't even really know what that is. I feel like I read something about they had played something on stage or something like that. Question mark. Right
there have been situations. I remember someone else saying, too, like, I was talking to one of my friends from Canada who watched BB Can and was saying that, like, they did
a haven't reached out to them how we can find out how we can watch it,
I'll find out.
There's that.
But
you all heard it.
He was saying that they, I don't know if it was this past season, had a triple, and then those 3 people immediately went into a battle back. So I guess that's just like a precedent of something that happens on BB Can. I would love to see it happen. I just like mathematically with how many weeks are left, don't see a
But
situation
what if
in
it's
which
like,
that
what
happens.
if it is like a triple or something, or there's like all these people involved, and then like, you know, people fight their way back in.
What
that
do
gets
I
us
know?
back to the 4. You know, maybe there's something wild going on Thursday.
Do you know? Could you imagine a situation where we get to Thursday night, Tiffany and Hannah are on the block. Tiffany goes out, let's say, and then whoever goes out as the second person in the double is not Hannah, right? Let's just say that. So Tiffany's out, someone else is out, Hannah's still in the house, and then Tiffany battled her way back in. So after all is said and
I would be
Tiffany and Hannah are
elated.
still there. That would be, oh, my heart. My heart wouldn't be able to take it.
I would love nothing more than to see that happen.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's
and we're
going
going to talk
to.
hypotheticals. Then like, if we're going to have a battle back on stage and get somebody in real quick, can we see what DX is doing? Like, wake him up. Like, put him on the stage. Let's see what's going on. We can still say the Cookout made Final 6 because they did. Just put DX back in. Let's just really shake it up. Yeah, let's have a battle back on Thursday. You have nothing else to do.
I'd love to see it. I don't. That would then bring us to 5 after a battle back, and there's only a week and a half left.
No, just swap other people out and just still leave us at 4. Just like other people go. Like it's still 2 people will still leave.
It would
but
have
just
to be a triple then.
There's do it a triple, but then somebody else comes back in. Like it'd just be like really crazy and like banoodles. Yeah. I don't think Julie can handle it too much.
Well, that, but also I just feel like that would have to be something they would tell us about beforehand. Like they wouldn't just spring a triple and a battle back on us, you know?
Yeah.
Especially because like I have to imagine something like that is really going to spike ratings. They're not going to keep that a secret until the episode's already airing. You know, I'd love to see it. I just don't think it's going to.
Yeah, I feel like the only way a battle.
Thanks for popping our balloons.
Yeah. Listen, I don't want to get too excited and then get disappointed.
Right. I think the only way a battle back could happen is if there was a triple, because then, like Gina was saying with the schedule, if you do a double and a battle back, there's still too many people.
Unless it's just a double in theory.
I don't know.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Like, you're still, I guess then you wouldn't be losing 2 if you're adding 1.
That's what I'm saying. Like right now, at this point, we're going from 6 to 4. Then there's 1 real week and then finale week. If there was a battle back, it would be 6 to 5, 1 regular week, and then we're at 4 for finale week. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. But I will also say, I feel like this other question also refers to, I believe there was a situation, if I remember this correctly, if I remember what I read correctly, it was something like 3 like left or something like that, but then 1 went back in. Right. So it was still like, that's what I meant, like a double in theory. It's not really.
Yeah, but then like technically it's a triple.
Right, but it's not because you end you end the night. That's what I know. In theory, you still end the night with the appropriate amount of people, even if we don't slip DX in. I'm not talking about that anymore. Just
so they're calling it a double eviction, but we'll actually see 3 people leave and 1 come back. Is that
right? Because they didn't really leave; they just went on stage where there's nobody anyway, and then so like 1 just goes back.
I'm really not trying to be a party pooper here, but y'all.
Gina, listen, we can do what we want.
The point is, after whatever is happening on Thursday, we will be back here at 10:30. Okay, we're coming at 10:30. We're still gonna chat live, and Tommy is back from Queers and Soaps, so that'll be really fun. And yeah, so thanks for participating. This is a lot of fun. Like, subscribe, and all that jazz. And thanks a lot.